Hey, hi guys. Okay, in this session, first of all, I welcome all of you for the Ansible, the next followed by session, and I thanks all of you for your support. So one of our friends, right? So they are asking that they are from the non-technical background and they are from the non-programming background as well. So they are facing some difficulties in understanding the Ansible architecture and uh, you know uh, a detailed explanation about it. So so let's get on to the stuff now. So as I already explained in the last video, you can also refer to that video if you are facing any problems with Ansible architecture. But anyhow, let's repeat it once again. So Ansible, first 4 points that we need to keep in mind is Ansible works with a master and a worker architecture, right? First, that is one very first basic point that everyone should understand. So Ansible works with a master and worker architecture, right? And the next point is Ansible is dependent on Python. It should have a Python version 2.7 and above running inside the server. So then only you will be able to execute Ansible playbooks or any Ansible scripts. Okay. So now what is the other point that we need to keep in mind is the executable location of Ansible and the configuration location of Ansible. So the default configuration of Ansible will be located in etc directory and in Ansible folder, and you will be having a file called ansible.cfg. So this file consists of entire settings, how Ansible works, from where it has to pick the modules, from where it has to pick the inventory, on what port numbers, on what user, every configuration will goes into Ansible configuration, ansible.cfg file. Okay. So there is one more file that we need to keep in mind is in etc directory in Ansible, you will be having another file called hosts. So the host, the name host, it says that on which host server you have to execute this playbook or ad hoc command. Okay. So now in the host file, we are going to give the details of the IP address, details of the worker machines, details like the username, the IP address of the node or the host name of the node. All those details we are going to give in Ansible/hosts file. Okay. So these two things you have to keep in mind. The one is Ansible.cfg, which consists of a complete settings of Ansible. The other one is host file where we are having an inventory of different IP address and host names. So, so here, right? So what is the other things that we need to keep in mind? So of course, we know Ansible works with master and worker architecture, but how the connectivity will establish? So Ansible works with a port number called protocol called SSH. So the default port number of SSH is 22. So by default, it will be enabled in all the Linux machines. So you have to connect to the Linux machine. So you will be having a 22 port number, which is enabled unless until 22 is not enabled, you cannot connect to the machine. So now Ansible works on the same port number. So you don't need to add any other port numbers unless until you need to install any packages. You there is no required, or there is no necessity that you have to enable other port number. Okay. So now let's see how to set up this Ansible once again. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I have my AWS account. I have created a Amazon Linux machine and I have logged into it by using Cloud Shell. Okay. So I'm inside my server now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to install Ansible. First of all, I need to verify whether Ansible is existed in my institution machine or not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to execute a command Ansible --version, which gives the output. It says command not found. That means Ansible was not installed in this particular server. So since we know Ansible is a dependent on Python, so let's verify whether Python is exist or not. So Python hyphen hyphen version. So let's verify for it. Yes, we have Python 2.7.18, which is pretty sufficient for running the Ansible. So let's get install the Ansible. So the command that I'm going to use is sudo yum install ansible-y. So it asks you to run the installation with Amazon Linux extras. So if it is a normal CentOS machine, we could have used yum. But in Amazon Linux, right, some of the packages will be specially migrated into the Linux extras package. So the same that we are going to use, sudo Amazon Linux extras, we are going to use. Okay, and we are going to install Ansible -y. So let's get started with it. Okay, Ansible is not found. So let's try with Ansible 2. If we have Ansible 2, we will be able to install it. Yes, it is. So we have Ansible 2, which is stored in Amazon extra Linux packages. So don't worry about what Ansible 2 is, what Ansible 1 is. So Ansible 2, it's a bit advanced package than Ansible. So nothing differs. All the configuration, all the playbooks, all the ad hoc commands, all the automation, everything goes same. Okay. So now we have installed Ansible. We need to verify where the Ansible is. So Ansible-v. Okay, so let's try with one more command, hyphen hyphen version. Good. So we have Ansible 2.9.3 installed. Okay, so in the config file is located in etc ansible.cfg, and we have Python version, and this is the executable location of the Ansible, and so a lot of modules will be configured by default, and those are installed, right? So now let's get started writing some playbooks and ad hoc commands. So what are the differences between these two? What is a playbook and what is the ad hoc commands? So just to give an overview on it. So ad hoc command. So ad hoc is nothing but an instant task, which you have to do instantly. It's all of a sudden you got a requirement and you have to execute the task. You have to complete the task. So in the sense of ad hoc command, it's just an Ansible task that you are performing on the remote servers with a single command, right? So let's see the syntax of ad hoc command. So how can we use it? So what we are going to do is, so let me put it in quotes so that you can identify the syntax. It starts with Ansible keyword. Okay, so that's pretty important. So that you have to keep in mind. Your ad hoc command is going to start with a keyword called Ansible because it's as simple as that. It is an Ansible ad hoc command, right? And just give a space, and you have to define on which node you have to run this ad hoc command. Either you can point to the local host, or you can point to all the servers in the inventory, or you can point to some particular group of servers, or you can point to particular IP address or a particular host name. So you have a lot of these facilities here. Okay. So now, so Ansible, and we have to give on which server we have to execute this. So I'm going to point to my local host. So when I say local host, right? So when I say local host, it is your server, the where Ansible is installed, and the place where you write the Ansible playbooks, the place where you store your Ansible playbooks, or the place, the server where you have installed your Ansible package. So that is called the local host. So here in my case, I am running my Ansible in this server, right? So this server is considered as a local host. Okay. So here I have defined where I need to run this Ansible ad hoc command, and next. So just give a space. So we have done with two things. We have given Ansible keyword, and we have given where I need to run this particular ad hoc task. Okay, so the next one is module. So which module you have to use? So first of all, guys, let me tell you what is a module, right? So module in another keyword, okay? So module in a keyword in another mean. So module is just a package or a group of scripts or a collection of scripts written in Python and assigned to a keyword and executed, assigned to a keyword and executed by passing arguments. Okay, the definition looks a pretty big, but in a simple terms, Ansible module is a certain action that you have to do, and for that action, you are going to give a keyword which is nothing but the name of the module. Okay, so for example, let's say I'm in my local host, I have to create an empty file. Okay, empty file or a text file. So what I'm going to do is there is a dedicated module for creating files and changing the permissions of the files. So there is a dedicated module for it. So we use that module. So that module name is just a file. Okay, so to declare in my ad hoc commands, I have to use this file module. I need to give a flag or a switch called -m. So the switch indicates that, okay, I'm going to declare a module. -m stands for a module. Here I'm going to use a file module, right? File. So Ansible is a keyword. Localhost is the server where I'm executing this. -m is that I'm going to declare a module, and I have given the name of the module, which is file. Now, here is the exact time where we need to pass the arguments. You have to be very much aware of which argument needs to be used to which module, right? So here in the file module, I'm going to declare some arguments. So to declare the arguments, I need to give a switch called -a. A stands for arguments. So better mind it. -m stands for module. A stands for argument, right? So give a space and give two single quotes. And now what you want to do to create a file. So what is the name of the file? You have to declare name. So the name of the file would be, let's say I have to create a file which is in the home directory of the current user. You don't need to give any path to that particular file. Okay. So for example, I want to create my file in the temp directory in the host server. So I need to give along with the path /temp, and I need to declare the name of the file, that is file1.txt. Okay, so I have given a name like this, file1.txt, and it should be created in the temp directory. So please keep that in mind. So don't think that /temp/file1.txt a complete file name. No, you are declaring /temp, which as a path of the file. So inside the /temp directory, you need this file1.txt to be created. Okay, so now you have to pass another argument in the file module, which is state. Okay, so guys, first of all, I'd like to tell you one point. If you want to get familiarized with Ansible, if you want to learn with Ansible, you have to be familiarized with Linux first. You should know at least some Linux commands, right? So in Linux, we have a command called touch. To create an empty file, we have a command called touch. So touch is a package, a command which basically executes for creating an empty file. So here I have given the name of the file should be /temp/file.txt, and the state of the file should be touch. So, okay, you might have got a doubt. Okay, sir, I'm creating file1.txt, which is a file. What happens if I want to create a directory? Let's see that. So to create a directory, I'm creating file1.txt in temp. If I want to create a directory inside the temp directory, I need to give the state as directory. That's it. There is no change in it. Directory. Everything, rest of the things remains same. Okay. So here you have to keep that in mind, which one you are using, which one you are intended to do, whether you are intended for creating files or whether you are intended for creating directories, which is very much important, right? So now let's get into the stuff. So we are creating file1.txt and you have to use a state called touch. So touch is the one which is a command, a Linux command, which will be used for creating empty files. Okay, so I am creating empty file.txt in temp directory. So I have given touch. So along with the touch, if you want to add some permissions to that file, give another flag by giving a space. Give the flag name is mod. So another argument, which is mod. So mod is nothing but the permissions of the file. Okay. So here I'm going to give full permissions for all the users, others, and all the executable permissions for all of them. So I'm going to give 777. Okay. So which is completely executable, completely written, completely readable. So all the permissions will be given to the users, groups, and others. So we'll discuss Linux permissions, Linux file permissions in our Linux classes. But for now, just keep that in mind. I'm going to change my file permission for file1.txt right after the moment it was created. Okay. Okay, let's go ahead and execute this command. So let's see what it do for us. Okay, so just copy this entire command Ansible localhost -m. The module is file. I'm going to pass a flag called -a to pass different arguments. The first argument is name, which indicates the file path and the name of the file, and the state, which indicates a touch command to create the file, and the mode of the file should be 777. So let's copy this and go to the terminal and execute it. Good. So we have Ansible installed. So I have framed a command, an ad hoc command. I'm going to execute this command on the local host. I'm going to use a module called file. I'm going to pass a lot of variables, a lot of arguments by giving a switch called -a. So the name of the argument should be file path and the file name. The state argument should be the touch mode because we are creating file. If it is a directory, it is a directory. And if you want to change the file permissions, you have to use mod argument, and you can give the particular code of the permissions. Okay, so now, so let's execute this command. Execute it. Good. If you can see the output on the local host, right, on the local host, there is something change happen. So what is the change? In the destination temp, a file1.txt is created and it was given with 777 permission. So let's verify that whether we have those permissions for file1.txt in the temp directory. So let's go to temp and let's do ls. Hey, you got it. You got the file1.txt in the temp directory, right? When you do, if you want to verify the permissions, whether we got all the executable permissions for user, group, and others. So let's do ls-lrt. You will be able to see, yes, we got all the permissions that is required. We have given 777, right? So that indicates we have full permissions for users, groups, and others. Okay, so that's it, guys. That's it for this video. We are intended to discuss about ad hoc commands, how to frame the ad hoc command, and we are going to discuss more about the playbooks in the coming sessions. Thank you so much. Thanks for your support. Have a good day. Take care. Bye bye.